Damian McNamara reporting from the Academic Surgical Congress in San Antonio, Texas, taking place about 2 blocks away from the Alamo. Several organizations have come up with criteria to designate bariatric surgery centers as centers of excellence. The reason they do that is so patients can identify and payers can identify centers that have met some basic standards according to these organizations. Now, one thing that people haven't looked at, though, is if outcomes are actually better for patients who go to a center of excellence for bariatric surgery versus another center. And with me is Dr. Justin Dimick of the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, who studied more than 7,500 bariatric surgeries done in his state, in Michigan, as part of the Michigan Bariatric Surgery Collaborative Database. And what you found was a higher risk-adjusted rate of serious complications for patients who went to one of these centers of excellence, correct?
Yes.
Thank you for talking to me. Were you surprised that you found this?
Well, I think, of course, we were surprised. The whole goal of the Center of Excellence program is to single out hospitals that are better and for patients to choose those hospitals, or for payers to direct patients to those hospitals. So the whole idea is that those hospitals are the best hospitals. And we thought what we might find is that they're no different, that all the hospitals perform equally. So finding that the centers of excellence were actually worse was quite surprising, and I think paradoxical almost.
Okay, another thing I found interesting is you said one of the centers that did the best was not a center of excellence, but had one of the highest volumes in the study.
So after we saw this paradoxical finding, we tried to understand it, and what we found was that one of the best hospitals in the state is not a center of excellence, and that sort of confounded the results. And if you take out that hospital, or you adjust for volume in the analysis, you find that center of excellence status really has no effect in Michigan hospitals.
Okay. So what has been the reaction to your findings from other surgeons?
Well, we presented it to the group, and everyone thought it was interesting and worth pursuing for publication to get it out there. Thus, we presenting at a meeting and working on publishing it. Now, I think one response from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan is to stop the Center of Excellence program. Now, I think it's very important to add a caveat, and that is that Michigan is different than other states, because the very data that this study that we used for the study comes from a collaborative of 17 or 18 hospitals that do bariatric surgery for quality improvement. And so when you have that sort of collaborative quality improvement, you might not expect some hospitals to be better than others, because they're all participating. You're measuring in outcomes and feeding back outcomes to all these hospitals, and they're all participating in this collaborative. So the fact that there is no difference may be a byproduct of this collaborative, and so the story here may be more about the success of quality improvement collaboratives statewide than the lack of success of the Center of Excellence program.
So if one of your patients came to you and said, I'm thinking of having bariatric surgery, and you kind of counseled them on it, and they want to decide where to go, what would you tell them at this point?
We know that almost anywhere you go in the state of Michigan is safe. It's safe for surgery. Now, that gets to the point of how do you identify the best hospitals? So even within this collaborative, even though centers of excellence don't necessarily have better outcomes, there is a range of outcomes. It's somewhat tight, but there are better hospitals. So I think if you were going to move through with center of excellence programs, you should rate the hospitals based on their actual performance, not on proxy measures, which are like volume and things like that.
Thank you, Dr. Dimick. I appreciate you talking with me. This is Damian McNamara at the Academic Surgical Congress in San Antonio, Texas for Global Medical News Network.